Welcome, welcome. Cannot wait to kick this one off, folks. In fact, there is content I just came across, dug up. I can't believe I didn't come across it before. So you and I are actually going to go on this journey together for the first time today, because this is content I have yet to see, but I totally entrust in Janet's work that she will open our minds that much more. Can we humble ourselves and admit that we have all been duped, manipulated, programmed, hacked in this life? The more we can humble ourselves and seek the whole truth, the more won't it actually lead to setting us free in this existence? Not just free in our minds, but free in the mortal sense, the spiritual sense, and actually set us up more so to effectively combat evil in this life. Set up a future for our children. Like, come on. Let's not kid ourselves. Now, I know the majority of you get it. That's why you're here and you're thirsty. And I'm so grateful for that. I'm so grateful for you. Let's try to get as many people on this live as possible. Share this with everyone you know. Let's go. Okay, we got that kicked off. All right. I don't know when this webpage got built, but I'm so grateful. Like, it got plugged there in the end of the very last episode we came across, and I'm not gonna lie, I feel kind of foolish that this yesterday was the first time coming across this, and I added the link below, fallcabal.com. Unbelievable source of information. This is, let's say, the single hub that we would need for someone actually seeking information. But let's not fool ourselves, okay? Hundreds of studies, bombshell studies coming out regarding individuals having it's not even adverse effects, people. This is intended consequences. Bombshell study finds 1.7 million vaccinated kids are now having severe heart defects. And this is due to the Pfizer biotech COVID-19 vaccine, irreversible effects. We got to get this information out. Like, who are we to fear? Too many are still afraid of offending their loved ones. Make that make sense. Our children are now dying from these intended, like, that's the design of this. Like, come on. We've brought forth the evidence. Bill Gates himself stated, one of the front man, one of the puppets, one of the faces of the cabal, the tool, like, they're using that man as a tool to achieve the Georgia Guidestones, all their manifestos, and a world population that will no longer threaten their two-tiered infrastructure. And it's information like this getting out that's threatening their status, their position of power, of influence, their manipulation tactics and propaganda. Let's all say it for what it is. No longer be deceived by the synagogue of Satan. We see you, evil. We can see the devil clearer than ever before. So hundreds of studies. I keep posting link after link as these happen on X. Follow UNMUZZLED Chat on X. James Geddes on Facebook. UNMUZZLED Chat on Instagram. I mean, I'm just posting. I'm not really interacting too much. I more so interact on X now, it seems, in Rumble the most. But always posting stuff on X almost daily. So if you want to check us out over there, that would be great. Now, we have an uphill battle. We're going to continue to plug and bring to light the censorship. This is what's minimizing us and having a great impact on throttling and keeping more so their propaganda running strong and deceiving our loved ones into believing still to this day safe and effective narratives. If we shift the paradigm and the majority are speaking out on it, then they will find themselves alone on an island, and they will kind of, and at that point, it's not that they won't have a choice. They will always have choice. But who in their right mind, when everyone saying the sky is blue, is going to stand on that island alone and be like, nope, it's red? You know what I'm saying? Let's shift that together. But look at this. Once we sounded the alarm, we're killing the freaking music. Once we sounded the alarm regarding how they've weaponized things against our women, children, against our children, that's what this one was about. Look what's happened. They started censoring things with a finer tooth comb, and then now they've entirely throttled what's happened here. How else do you explain? Look at the views. Look at the views. This one got throttled entirely. Harari stating that humans are now hackable animals, pointing out, something very powerful. So once we shine the light on a detransitioner, look what's happened. This is a huge problem as to why people still feel safe and effective. It's a huge problem as to why we're allowing doctors to mutilate children, murder unborn children. Let's rip off our muzzles. Let's find the courage we're not to fear. In fact, let's go ahead. Maybe we'll kick off this tunage for a quick read. Hopefully this will give us some inspiration for this episode out of this little prayer book. True strength. He is strong. But he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Can we acknowledge our weaknesses? Could we kick pride and ego effectively in the face and eat some humble pie and weed out the programming and the defective wiring we all have acquired in this life? We're all mortal. We're all going to make mistakes. It is to our benefit and everyone around us that we acknowledge our weakness. Therefore, I will boast all the more gladly about my weakness, so that Christ's power may rest on me. That is why, for Christ's sake, I delight in weaknesses. Wow. Can we reprogram our brains to delight in our weaknesses? That will bring true strength and truth through our loving Creator and reliance on Him and not on ourselves, because we're defective and weak in this mortal state. Frick's sakes, people, let's go. Come on, we're visiting here. We're only visiting here. This is what really matters. I feel convicted in this, and let's bring more people to the light. I delight in my weakness, in insults, in hardships, in persecutions, in difficulties, for when I am weak, I am strong. This is 2 Corinthians 12, 9 through 10. The Word of God, the roadmap for us all that will lead to not just salvation, but great blessing in our lives and everyone around us. The prayer reads, I want to absorb this and imagine as though, absorb it and point the finger to the man in the mirror. The biggest impact that this can have, it's not by really pointing the finger. We can share our testimonies, but let's really have self accountability in this moment. The prayer reads, I am weak, but you are strong. Yes, Jesus loves me, and I love him. While having a list of weakness a mile long is not always a comforting thought, not in this mortal, flawed state, I finally understand why I am human, and you are God. I don't like to shine a light on my failings, but I have learned to release them to you so you can use them to reveal your might. Thank you for giving me the freedom to have my identity in you. I could feel the devil trembling in his whatever, view him in socks, boots. I don't know. If we truly grasp this more collectively, this allows me to showcase my weakness, give you credit for my moments of strength, all glory to God, and direct attention to your grace. Think about the sacrifice of Jesus Christ. Why all that took place? We did not deserve that, but he paved a way for us. We can't even fathom the love our Creator has for us all. We can't. He truly is our rock. It's like that parody. Is that what you would call it? But building their house on sand or on a foundation of rock, right? It is not about me. It is about you. You working through me. As I rid myself of ego, I can be filled by the power of your Spirit. I pray I more effectively walk in that Spirit this very episode. Holy smokes. Well, folks, I appreciate you. Let's get as many people on this live as possible. So I want to say the fall of the Cabal, but fallcabal.com. The fall of the Cabal must have been taken, who knows, probably the elitists bought up all the stuff so we can use it against them, but fallcabal.com. So much information. I'm going to be going through this with a fine-tooth comb, more than likely sharing a lot of it right here on this podcast. So buckle up, stay tuned. But right here, you got the first 10-part series, right? And then you got the sequel. That's where I could only find up to, I mean, they're all right here, folks. A single source. This is such a gift. All organized. So what was it? Before, I could only find 2728. But I'm on another screen here, so sorry, trying to multitask. But we scroll down on what's available here. Look at this. We have 2728. And not just that, we do have, other information we're going to be diving into. Cannot wait. Let's gain the knowledge. Let's seek the whole truth. Okay, that's enough from me. Let's not mess around. Let's dive into Janet's fantastic work. For some reason, this one wouldn't go full screen, so I clicked the download option, so we'll be able to watch it here. But for this one, it actually will go full screen. So let's do that. Let's go 1.25. I mean, being 30 minutes. Yeah, that feels right. Let me know. Give me a thumbs up if this audio comes through okay, because we haven't used this source. But let's dive in. Oh, I'm so grateful to have come across more information. Having brought our COVID episode to an end, we are confronted with the question, what happens next? Mayhem is what happened next. Total and utter mayhem. Is there hope for humanity? Watch this episode and decide for yourself. Wow, that's a good. Let's keep that in mind.
There's only just one mechanism the Cabal can deploy in order to control the masses: fear. People who are scared cannot think clearly anymore. They tend to freeze and reach out for others to save them and take away the fear. There's only just others like the government or so-called experts. People turn to us for hope, so we have noticed. They even get angry with us when we don't offer hope on a silver platter. Truth is, it's time to stop giving others your power. It's time to stop turning to others for hope or a solution to your misery. Only you can save you.
God.
It's time for action. Action from you, the people. What we present in our episodes are our findings of research.
Yes.
We call it the ugly truth. And ugly it is. Much uglier than we expected it to be.
Oh my gosh.
But you have two options. You can either turn away because it makes you feel uncomfortable,
yes,
or you can accept it for what it is.
The image. Let's stop getting in line for a convenient lie and get in line for inconvenient truth. All right, let's get more people on this lie, folks. Let's spread the message. Let's break the chains of bondage in this existence, and this will lead more people to the light. Spiritual breakthrough, undoubtedly. Let's go.
Reality. And yes, it's bad. It's ugly. It makes you want to throw up. It would be weird if you didn't feel that way.
Right.
Believe me, we've gone through all those phases while doing the research. But the ugly truth will not go away simply because you don't like it.
Boom.
It will only go away once you accept it for what it is and act.
Right.
Once you know the facts, once you know your enemy, so to speak, you can draw up a plan. You will know what to do, when to do it. What we're about to tell you is so insane, so outrageous, that you will probably not believe us. We wouldn't have believed it if someone had told us what's about to come, say, a year ago.
Right.
Therefore, after our insight into the future of humanity, we will let them say it. Them being the spokesman of the World Economic Forum, the biggest and most dangerous NGO in the world. For when you hear them say it, how can you possibly deny it any longer? And remember, we are not spreading fear. At the end of this episode, you will know what to do, okay? Here we go.
Love it. So well said.
Picture the year 2030. Half of the world's population has died as a result of the depopulation program.
Oof.
The world has been taken over by a small elite group of people whose spies managed to infiltrate every aspect of society, after which the long-awaited one-world government was successfully formed. Country borders have disappeared. National and personal sovereignty belong to the past. Terrified by the idea of more killer viruses, cyber attacks, nuclear wars, and alien invasions, the remaining people gave up everything, desperately hoping to be saved by their leaders. They now live in a totalitarian, communist, even fascist system. Surveillance has reached unimaginable heights, not just in every street and every house, not just in people's clothes or in the bracelets they must wear, but surveillance under the skin. Billions of people were chipped. They were promised happiness and godlike powers. Instead, they were made redundant and turned into hackable animals.
Ooh,
They are now controlled by a system that knows them better than they know themselves. Their political views, their sexual preferences, their mental weaknesses, their deepest fears and hopes. Those who are still alive are now controlled by a system that can predict their feelings and decisions, that can manipulate their feelings and decisions, and that can ultimately make decisions for them. Their bodies, brains, minds, and souls were systematically and successfully hacked by means of a combination of unprecedented computer power, understanding of biology, artificial intelligence, and biometric data they collected from you,
this is happening,
and every person.
This is the world we live in. Evil.
Those who survived the depopulation program own nothing. Homo sapiens is dead. It died when it was hacked and turned into hybrid cyborgs. Free will
to an
is
extent.
dead. God has been surpassed and taken over. They finally did it. What tyrants in the past failed to achieve, the Cabal managed. They hacked and hacked and hacked until no free-thinking individual was left on the face of the planet.
You know what's interesting? John from the Forgotten Soldiers on a private conversation we had. Love you, John. Everything you do, the Forgotten Soldiers, folks, check them out. He brought to my attention a pretty interesting thought. With the lack of reaction, I'm sure we got rabid liberals like shaving their heads and saying, okay, no more sex for men. Please do us a favor. All right, continue that. But so there's a reaction of more so the hacked, but there is an eerie silence, let's say Barack Hussein Obama, the Clintons, with what is taking place politically. So with what Janet is explaining and covering right here in a way, it's like, could it be they don't need to infiltrate the political realm, so to speak, anymore due to the deployment of their biowarfare? Have they unlocked something in this mortal existence? I mean, if so, think biblically. I mean, God states that he won't allow the devil in this life to come between his love for us. Doesn't mean the devil isn't, he's clearly pushed the envelope on a lot of things. So if anything, it just ramps up the emphasis. Yeah, it's important we do what we can to combat this evil, but even more so that we get right with God while we have the opportunity, because we truly do not know when God says enough is enough from evil in this life. Look how rampant it is. For freak's sakes, perversion, pedophiles in this country. We're not even prosecuting them. What's happening with Epstein? Epstein alone, P. Diddy, that whole infrastructure. Why have none of the actual clients been arrested? Why is there no transparency to we the people? We must demand this. We know it implicates Bill Clinton, Bill Gates, most of Hollywood, most of our political royal families, the cabal. Their sin could be their downfall. We could make that so, but we're too wrapped up in our own selfishness, our lives, to properly assemble. So we do have an opportunity, but even more important on an individual level than even seeing that accountability, because on the bigger scale, yes, in a sense, it's in God's hands, but does that mean we're to negate all, especially as men, like responsibility and these war tactics that have been exposed? Absolutely not. But I know for a long time people talk as though end times, but I believe we're end times right now, truly, with how rampant. I believe Sodom and Gomorrah don't even hold a candle to the evil that is taking place right before our eyes, right in this country and all over this world. It's never been this bad. There is silver lining. A lot of people are seeing the truth for what it is, and they're seeking the light. They're seeking God for the first time. Even you see RFK kind of transition there. You see Tucker. You see Russell Brand building testimony, mega voices, but which is great, making that more so trendy to talk about in a way, acceptable, when our society has more so shunned away from speaking that truth in this existence. Jesus Christ is our Savior, bringing forth the actual evidence, the proof, in a sense, we have. It's just such a gift. Even with the algorithms, it seems, on Rumble, and not, for whatever reason, having this live on their main page. I don't get that. And I'm still seeking an answer. I'm grateful for the opportunity to speak freely on this, at least for the time being in this moment. We'll see what the future holds. But, gosh, What a historical moment. What a pivotal moment in time we live in. And I'm just excited to see the outcome no matter what takes place. To show up and do what we can in this moment in time is paramount. That's what's important. Above all the programming, the white picket fence, the American dream. Are you kidding me? We're talking about God's plan, spiritual warfare playing out right before our eyes. Let's continue.
2030. 7 years from now.
Crazy.
Not a pretty picture, right? Let's hear what the Cabal has to say about it, shall we? Meet Klaus Schwab, founder and chairman of the World Economic Forum.
Evil man.
When I mention now names like this Merkel, even Vladimir Putin and so on, they all have been young global leaders of the World Economic Forum. Mm-hmm. What we are very proud of is that we penetrate the cabinets. We penetrate the cabinets.
You hear this? Wow.
I know that half of this cabinet, or even more half of this cabinet, are actually young global leaders of the World Economic Forum.
Pay insufficient attention to the frightening scenario of a comprehensive cyber attack, which would bring to a complete halt to the power supply, transportation, hospital services, our society as a whole. The COVID-19 crisis would be seen in this respect as a small disturbance in comparison to a major cyber attack.
Guys, I'm sharing this to the moon as we speak because Janet's already hitting it out of the park. Could we all get more people on seeking this truth, not walking in fear as to what they're going to say about us? Are you kidding me? We should be able to question things, and what more important discussions to be had than seeking the whole truth and challenging the programming that has taken place? Are you kidding me?
I respect China's achievements,
you hear this?
which are tremendous. I think it's a role model for many countries.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
We have to define
what they
how
want.
the world should look like.
It's what they want in America.
The difference of this fourth industrial revolution is it doesn't change what you are doing. It changes you. If you take genetic editing, it's you who are changed. And of course, this has a big impact on your identity.
Wow. They say it all themselves.
Assume we are just going back to the good old world which we had, and everything will be normal again. This is, let's say, fiction. It will not happen. The next crisis is already waiting for us around the corner, and it is the climate crisis.
Wow.
What a wonderful man. And what a perfect example of yet another fear-mongering sociopath who knows how to mislead millions of people by using almost innocent words to describe one hell of a future. I mean, he just literally said that life after COVID will never go back to normal, something that was promised us all along, remember? He called China a wonderful role model for other countries. China, for God's sake, guilty of the most heinous crimes against humanity.
Full tyranny. Yeah.
He spread some more fear about disasters lurking around the corner, like a major cyber attack and climate change. Because after all, it's fear that keeps us in line. And he is most excited about genetic editing that will change you, as in all of you, including your personality. Oh, and on top of that, he states that they will define how the future world should look like. They being the elite, the less than 1% that nobody ever elected, but who can actually do this because they infiltrated just about every cabinet in the world. And of course, let's not forget the one-liner that made him famous in the first place. You'll own nothing, and you'll be happy.
Come on, folks.
You, not them. They will continue owning everything.
Right. Absorb this. Look at this picture. How is this acceptable? And they're literally devil worshippers. Janet's brought it full circles. Full circle. Yeah, many circles, right? They're the ones behind normalizing pedophilia. Infiltrate, like it's truly the synagogue of Satan that she has been exposing. And that is what's behind all this evil. I pray this hits home and lights a spark within more men to assemble, help us become effective. And it's like we don't need to directly take this and challenge our relationships in a huge degree where to always stand for truth, but to walk in the fruit of the Spirit when it's appropriate, when it's not. But we could more so expose it by, assembling and addressing and exposing more of this evil. They're so evil. With Janet exposing this to the degree she did, so profoundly, so beautifully, they took her out. Time to no longer accept the egregiously unacceptable outcomes. Evil's been too effective. It's time to push back. And in doing so, that will have a waking up effect to many, which will lead, obviously, to bringing God back into the picture. What else are we here to really do? When it's all fleeting, what are we really here to do? Let's ask ourselves.
Including the private planes that take them to Davos, where they can discuss the horrors of climate change and the irresponsibility of you and me when it comes to sustainability.
I don't care about their hypocrisy.
But hey, let's move on to his most prominent advisor, Yuval Harari.
God.
What does he have to say in his own words?
We got to absorb it.
Equation of life in the 21st century. Biological knowledge multiplied by computing power, multiplied by data, equals the ability to hack humans. If you know enough biology and you have enough computing power and data, you can hack my body and my brain and my life, and you can understand me better than I understand myself. You can know my personality type, my political views, my sexual preferences, my mental weaknesses, my deepest fears and hopes. And you can do that not just to me, but to everyone.
Come on.
A system that understands us better than we understand ourselves, can predict our feelings and decisions, can manipulate our feelings and decisions, and can ultimately make decisions for us.
They've achieved this way too effectively. To say otherwise would in fact be a level of the hackedness that he's speaking of. Whew, that's really sit on that. Absorb it. They're saying it themselves, folks. The amount of money, I mean, look at what they've amassed, what they've achieved with BlackRock, with the Federal Reserve. I mean, we thought kings and queens kind of went away. No, there's rulers in this world, and it's not our president.
How exactly will the future masters of the planet look like? This will be decided by the people who own the data. In the past, many tyrants and governments wanted to do it, but nobody understood biology well enough. And nobody had enough computing power and data to hack millions of people.
Tyrants in the past wanted to do it, but now they have it. So now they can fully, excuse me, I needed more nutrition in me. I could feel it, and I didn't want to fail like last episode. Let's just absorb what they, absorb what they're saying themselves. It's so clear.
Neither the Gestapo nor the KGB could do it. We've reached the point when we can hack not just computers, we can hack human beings and other organisms.
Wow.
Humans are now hackable animals. We are probably one of the last generations of Homo sapiens, because in the coming generations, we will learn how to engineer bodies and brains and minds.
They view
The whole
themselves
idea
as
that
God.
humans have, this, they have this soul or spirit and they have free will and nobody knows what's happening inside me. So whatever I choose, whether in the election or whether in the supermarket, this is my free will. That's over. Free will, that's over.
Oh my gosh, these Satanists. Are you kidding me? And how can we deny that this isn't happening on a large scale? Look around. How they manipulated so many into getting a shot. Look at the stats, and it's still available on the shelf. So many still believe it is safe and effective. It's dividing families to this day over loved ones' deaths and suffering. How could you deny how effective evil has become? This is paramount. This is beyond World War III. This truly is the handiwork of the God of this world, as Jesus called Satan, the prince of this world, the destroyer, the deceiver. Unbelievable.
People could look back in 100 years and identify the coronavirus epidemic as the moment when a new regime of surveillance took over, especially surveillance under the skin, which I think is maybe the most important development of the 21st century, is this ability to hack human beings, to go under the skin, collect biometric data, analyze it, and understand people better than they understand themselves.
You're not free anymore at that point. It's beyond. We are so far past worrying as to what people are going to think of us as we share this information. They either have the ability to absorb it or not, but we should have zero fear in speaking out on this. Heck, they're doing a fine job speaking on it on our behalf. And we're not able or willing to absorb what they're saying themselves. The infrastructure, the actual ones tied into the infrastructure that are running the whole globe as we speak, we are under illusion as America being not being influenced by this world cabal.
Now, for the first time in history, it is becoming feasible to monitor everybody all the time, and not just what we do, but even what we feel. We already know that corporations and governments can know that you are now watching this show. But this is still limited. They don't know yet what you're actually feeling as you're watching us. But once you have under the skin surveillance, you can know that. Because emotions and feelings are biological phenomena, just like fever. The same technology. Control of data might enable human elites to do something even more radical than just build digital dictatorships. By hacking organisms, elites may gain the power to re-engineer the future of life itself.
Wow.
Because once you can hack something, you can usually also engineer it. For 4 billion years, nothing fundamental changed. All of life, for 4 billion years, was subject to the laws of natural selection and to the laws of organic biochemistry. But this is now about to change. Science is replacing evolution by natural selection with evolution by intelligent design. Not the intelligent design of some god above the clouds.
Think about the deception of the devil. It's like I'm watching himself work through the flesh. Through him, through Klaus Schwab, through Bill Gates, you name it. Everyone Janet has so beautifully exposed for us, just laid it out on a silver platter. Are we going to get on our own way? This is beautiful in a huge sense. It can be a challenging narrative. I get it. To accept that, oh my gosh, it is like kind of the end times. But what a blessing it is to truly acknowledge this spiritual battle, gain the discernment and distinction between the devil himself and our loving creator, so we're not deceived and we actually end up fulfilling what we're supposed to do. My freaking heck, what the fact so many men can just go back to a life of normacy after so much death, after a direct attack is mortally, we would put it, World War III, playing out right here in our country. The infringement on our constitutional rights, our Bill of Rights, completely trampled upon. Plandemic, scamdemic. Are you kidding me? Completely trampled upon. Through our corporations, through our businesses, through our militaries, through our churches. And, oh God, come on, brain. I had a point there. Additionally, forgive me. This is part of the hackness that he's even speaking of. I just have more so an old school bioweapon in me called Lyme disease, as you more than likely know if you're tuned in. This new age warfare. I mean, think about it. No informed consent. Oh, that's where I was going to go. Was additionally how they trampled upon the Nuremberg Code. How is it words, history, things don't mean anything to us? That's where we are truly delusional to go back to a life of normalcy without addressing this freaking tyrannical corruption. We're beyond controlled and occupied. Or occupied. We're in fact controlled. Yeah. To a huge extent. But through this information, through combating and seeing, okay, how do we bring health back in? Well, it's spiritual, mental, emotional, physical, our bodies, balancing that, hormonal, detoxifying, then we're giving ourselves a fair shake as to really seeing things clearly. So as in a huge sense, as challenging as Lyme disease has been for me, it's been a great blessing because in a huge sense, it set me up and set me free. In connecting all these dots, it's almost been a blessing that there hasn't been a singular diagnosis and a singular path to health, that I've had to more so rely on God and seeking more and more. And that has led to the awakening of the infiltration evil has done through our Western medicine. And we're just constantly deceived because we could have loving doctors and individuals that are just showing up that just don't know any better. They're just fully indoctrinated. My gosh. How do we really step back and look at the big picture? Janet's doing a fantastic job. Maybe I need to stop interrupting as much. I apologize. Let's go.
But our intelligent design and the intelligent design of our clouds, the IBM cloud, the Microsoft cloud, these are the new driving forces of evolution. In the coming decades, AI and biotechnology will give us godlike abilities to re-engineer life and even to create completely new life forms. We are about to enter a new era of inorganic life shaped by intelligent design. Our intelligent design. We are really acquiring divine powers of creation and destruction. We are really upgrading humans into gods.
Upgrading? No.
Straight from the horse's mouth. Shocking, isn't it? So let's get this straight. They are creating an era of inorganic life shaped by their intelligent design. Because God didn't do a good job. I mean, nothing really changed in 4 billion years, right, Yuval? It doesn't really matter whether you believe in the God of the Bible or in Darwin's evolution theory. This is a statement that no geologist or paleontologist will ever agree on. And it's an absolute insult to religious people. This historian, specialized in medieval and military history, now tells the world with immense authority that they can do better than God.
Now we are much better than the God of the Bible.
Get out of here. Blasphemy. Wow.
Now normally we would tell you all about Schwab and Harari, about their roots, their hidden agendas. And of course we did the research and we discovered a lot. For instance, about the real driving force behind the WEF. Nelson Rockefeller And, of course, as always, the near-immortal Henry Kissinger.
Wow.
Schwab and Harari are just cabal puppets. One plays the wise, philosophical, even friendly advisor who meditates 2 hours a day.
Folks, these aren't just words. The actual impact, if you look into the World Economic Forum and the ties to the UN and the ties to royal families, the ties to Davos and their meetings and the elitists and the billionaires, trillionaires. Are you kidding me? These are not empty words.
One is a caricature of a Nazi who can't even pronounce the word COVID properly.
COVID-19 crisis. The COVID-19 crisis.
It's COVID of COVID-19.
COVID? Scovid? Seriously? Is it really important, in this particular case, to share all the background information we discovered? Or should we move straight on to the dark future they have in mind for us in the very short term? We choose the latter, as we don't believe we have the luxury of wasting any more time. In short, the World Economic Forum, set up in 1971, plays out a modern-day version of the Protocols of Zion. For more than half a century, every detail of Agenda 21 and 2030 was executed at the exact right moment. Everything was planned meticulously. If there's one thing the Cabal mastered, it's patience. More than 50 years of planning, of getting the useless eaters prepared, ready, even willing to become the perfect cyborg slaves.
Wow.
As the WEF carefully played out its Cabal game, moving pawns to and fro, its goals remained the same as always. World dominance, a new world order, depopulation of the masses, and the utter submission of the remaining useless eaters. In order to achieve these goals, every part of society had to be infiltrated by WEF-trained operatives throughout the world. Training programs were set up over 30 years ago to select potential operatives, to educate and shape them, turning them into eager puppets who were subsequently placed in key positions around the world.
We penetrate the cabinets.
Call it penetration, call it infiltration. Let's be honest, it's brilliant. If you wanted your wicked plans to be accepted and executed on a global scale, don't you think the fastest, most efficient way would be to infiltrate every aspect of society? To put your puppets everywhere? Remember the 1489 Constantinople letter from part 2 of the sequel? This was the advice of the Cabal's top Nazi to his Ashkenazi fellow men. Make your sons merchants so they can despoil the Christians of their goods. Make them doctors and apothecaries so they can take away Christian lives. Make them canons and clerics so they can destroy Christian churches. And make them advocates and lawyers so they can mix themselves up with the affairs of state. This way, you will dominate the world.
Wow.
Infiltration, infiltration, infiltration. They did it back then, and they're still doing it now.
100%.
This time, they started with the Global Leaders of Tomorrow, a one-year program that started in 1992 and lasted until 2003. And then, in 2004, a 4-year program was set up, the Young Global Leaders. In 2011, the Global Shapers community was set up to select and groom people younger than 30. So, what's the level of infiltration we're talking about? The Cabal used its World Economic Forum to penetrate everything.
It's not just the World Economic Forum. They're hiding under another shield of protection. And we have proof as to not just what we're up against, how they're deceiving and hiding behind something, but how we're also in the last days. When you look at Revelation chapter 2, verse 9, states, I know about your suffering and your poverty, but you are rich. We've never had it better than right now. I know the blasphemy of those opposing you. They say they are Jews, but they are not, because their synagogue belongs to Satan. And then continues, do not be afraid. You gotta dive into the Word of God, this roadmap. It is not anti-Semitic. I believe in Jesus Christ. How could I be labeled anti-Semitic? I'm not. I'm reading the Word of God. They're claiming they are Jews, but they are not. So pointing out individuals claiming that they're something just to hide behind anti-Semitism, that isn't anti-Semitism because they're not even Jews. And you look, not just the World Economic Forum, you actually look at the individuals and how they've infiltrated. There's dual allegiance from so many of these individuals. We've dove into it. Even the Jewish star, like, that's not the Star of David. Where biblically does it state any of that? There was no connection to any star in David. There's a lot of false idolship in this book, in the multitude of books known as the Bible, speaking out of the star of Ramphran, and this, like, Satan. It's just Satan worship. So we've been deceived. Let's just continue. More proof. You go to Revelation 3, verse 9, and it just continues. Look, I will force those who belong to the synagogue of Satan, those liars who say they are Jews, but are not, to come and bow down at your feet. Not needed. This is just, I'm going to continue. You can absorb it. I'm not a biblical scholar. I'll admit it. But I can see directly how these warnings in the word from our loving Creator on a non-manipulated Bible like the Scofield Bible was manipulated to, once again, deceive us by man, who was influenced by who, deceived by who, to fulfill what agendas. It's so clear. They will acknowledge that you are the ones I love because you have obeyed my command to preserve. I will protect you from the great test, or the great time of testing that will come upon the whole world to test those who belong to this world. I am coming soon. I want to continue. In fact, we should just be reading through this. But Janet does go through things in such like a visual, absorbable way in this mortal state that, it just clearly brings more conviction and clarity to even the Bible. Wow. All right. That's the thing. We got to challenge the programming. We got to challenge the things we've been spoon-fed entirely. Israel is not a spot on a map. It's a people. It's more an idea than a spot on a map. But we've been taught to blindly entrust and protect. And if we don't protect this arbitrary, drawn out lines on a map in a place, like, we'll be damned. So there's a manipulation happening. And it's to the benefit of the evildoers, the bankers, the Satan worshipers, that they deceive Christians and actually gain our support to their nefarious deeds. It's quite challenging to, let's say, fight back on some of this programming, especially when it's tied into like biblical, and there's just so much to learn. It's why we're just to seek that meekness as a child, not let pride and ego, and continually just learn, see things clearly. Anyway, let's go.
Part of society worldwide. We are talking Prodigals of Zion 2.0. Let me show you what we mean. And please realize that every business we're about to show you send its highly placed representatives to follow one of the WEF's training programs. CEOs, director of this, director of that. Meaning, Each and every business and aspect of society has been programmed to execute the WEF's demands. Please let that sink in while you watch the following. The WEF has successfully and thoroughly infiltrated the financial world.
Yes. And who's behind that? All of this. There's others connecting it all. You know what I can't shake out of my mind in this moment? There's a star that connects to all of this. And what symbolism is that? But what really ramps up the sense of urgency, and I pray people soften their hearts to actually do their due diligence, dive in, and look for themselves, is that he's coming soon. I can't shake that. I don't know. When I read those words, it's just, we're there. And it's the most important thing we can do.
Corporations,
All owned by the same people,
NGOs.
folks.
religion, the media,
Oh my gosh. Wow. It's just a few examples, folks. Why would they need to control America's
the
government
world of
anymore?
science,
Ooh.
Hollywood and Bollywood,
Wow, have we been duped? We've been absorbed into exactly what they want us to. Crazy.
the domain of air and space, royal families, and last but not least, they penetrated the world of politics. Think prime ministers, presidents and advisors to the president, ministers, ambassadors, members of Congress and Parliament, senators and mayors. We're talking thousands and thousands of Cabal puppets, longing for a piece of the money and power pie, who were trained by the WEF and put in high positions around the world. Big influencers who decide the direction and content of your life. Now please let it sink in that all the people we just showed you have followed the official training programs, even kings and queens. Why? They're royalty, for goodness sake. It clearly shows you who's actually in charge, doesn't it? The amount of WEF influencers across
So
the world
good.
is absolutely massive. There are many, many more members and participants of the WEF who, for some reason, do not need to follow the training programs. Here are some more friendly faces you've probably seen before. All the major globalists are there. That's right. The Cabal infiltrated everything. They are everywhere. What's their next move? The Great Reset.
We need a great reset.
A massive global change of reality, enveloping every aspect of your life. This is the era of technology and science, where feelings are read, registered, and altered if desired. The era of reason will tear out the root of being human, so that we can be controlled and oppressed, used, or extinguished.
Think about it. What happened to agree to disagree? As adults, over the most like insane things, truly insane things. We can see this being played out 100% before our eyes if we're truly being honest with ourselves and using our eyes and ears and being somewhat alive and alert. Unbelievable.
Follow the science, they said.
In this time of crisis, you have to follow science.
But guess what? Science is not about objective discoveries. Science changes all the time.
Yeah.
So why treat it as holy? You know why? Because science is about power.
Science is not really about truth. It's about power.
Boom.
Particular scientists may be very interested in the truth, personally. But as an institution, the real aim of science is power.
That's why they wanted us to follow the science, so their power would reach insanely dangerous heights.
Guys, my heart just got insanely saddened, with the realization that Janet's not with us as this beautiful whole series has been played before us. Help us magnify the work, the hard work, the sweat, the tears. She paid the ultimate sacrifice to get this information to us. The least we could do is not fear as to sending this to as many people as we can.
Often said that you should never allow a good crisis to go to waste, because a crisis is an opportunity to also do good reforms that in normal times people will never agree to, but in a crisis you see we have no chance, so let's do it.
Most jobs in the near future will be carried out by robots and cyborgs. You will be made redundant. And the people who don't want to join this program, or who cannot keep up with the speed of developments?
A new, massive, useless class.
A new
class that has
useless.
no military or economic usefulness, and therefore also no political power.
Wow.
My best guess at present is a combination of drugs and computer games.
Drugs and computer games. And maybe they'll just end up in isolation camps.
Right.
Or should I say, concentration camps.
Holy smokes.
So, is there hope for humanity? You decide. After
Yes.
all, we are not here to sell you hope. We are here to give you facts.
Facts.
But hey,
like it.
you know us. We will show you what you can do in order to change things.
Yes, please.
It's basically what we've been telling you all along in our Zoom presentations. But first, let's move on with some more lies that will make you happy to pay more tax. And we'll give you a picture of what all of the above means for this new, massive class of useless eaters. In other words, for you and your children. Follow me to part 28.
That means the very last episode to this sequel. Like officially. You can see right here. 28. However, she's got more information that I'm excited to dive into. Her passing, a lot has been put up. Now, You can sit there. It's healthy to ponder, like the connection she's making without really bringing in Jesus and God. Like she's hitting profound facts and truths. But I know in a huge way, I mean, we're human. She's ebbing and flowing, but very closely, I feel, to that whole truth line, if you will. So whether she misses the nail slightly, I find irrelevant. This is entirely awakening. Such a powerful tool. Once again, I have yet to find a better singular source that more accurately depicts as to why the world is the way it is than this series. If you have other additional sources, please email them to unmuzzledchat@gmail.com. Drop them in the comment section below. Greatly appreciate that. Let's go ahead and do a shout out to everyone that's had the courage to come on and speak to any capacity at this point. Are we to challenge ourselves and push against this? Pray on it. And if you get the impression to come bear your testimony or shine the light on some truths or make the connections on information that you have come across, I welcome you to come guest on the podcast. Just email unmuzzledchat@gmail.com. I almost don't want to click play because I don't want to meet the end of her information. It's almost like we could continually just replay them all forever until we actually stand against this cabal, this evil, and this existence that is evoking not just tyrannical rule and full control. Think about it. This technological age, they got full access to everything we do. We do not have privacy. And yet, any of their people, like Epstein, enough gets in the open that, we get him in prison. Think of the access they have. The most secured prisons to delete any potential leak or, him potentially going whistleblower and just take care of that. And they're able to sweep everything else under the rug regarding him and Maxwell and the infrastructure and who that would implicate. That is unacceptable. Their sin 100% could be their downfall. And it would be great to see that day. Holy smokes. Harari and Schwab said it all. And in no uncertain terms, the future of humanity looks rather bleak. Not for the elite, of course, who will develop godlike powers, as they say, but for you, the useless eaters. It's wild to me, the cognitive dissonance that we can't even connect what they have said themselves. The weaponization of words that they use in deceiving with conspiracy theories, things along those lines, like unbelievable. She laid it all out right in that one episode. That is a big red pill to wake people up to the reality and snap out of the matrix of the programming that has infiltrated us all. By inventing yet another major crisis, they are shaping the future. But are we talking about the future? Or is it the crude here and now? Oh, it's here. And with the scamdemic and the biggest distribution of wealth throughout human history, could you only imagine what they're doing with those funds and ramping up? More warfare for tomorrow.
The World Economic Forum warned us all along. The next two crises, the ones that will make COVID-19 pale in comparison, will be a major cyber attack and climate change. The cyber attack will shut down the entire economy of God knows how many countries. People in hospitals will die. Supermarkets will no longer be supplied. We will all starve or freeze to death. Well, if that is the case, then why on earth are they digitalizing each and every society? Smartphones, smart cities, digital IDs, digital money, the Internet of Things. If all of that is to go down, wouldn't it be wise to have a good old-fashioned backup plan? Maybe not so smart? But that's not what the World Economic Forum presents as a solution to a possible future problem. It is using the same fear-based strategy that has worked for centuries. Present a crisis of unknown precedents, leave it.
We are so close to kinetic World War III with, I mean, come on, let's go, Brandon. What happened to this rotting bag pedophile, rotting bag of oatmeal pedophile, Joe Biden? You don't believe he's a pedophile? Read Ashley Biden's journal. His own daughter taking inappropriate showers. I know it's disgusting. The weird freaking child sniffer, woman toucher. Are you kidding me? It's been all out in the open. How are we allowing this senile old man potentially roll us into kinetic World War III with Russia? We now have bombs actively being deployed on Russian soil. Confirmed. What? Yeah. Is that the crisis they need? The distraction they need to keep us, I don't know, where they want us? Or from assembling? Who knows? Unbelievable. We're to do something about it. Why are we idly sitting by and allowing clearly a man not capable of even speaking supposedly run our country? Like, what? That just shows you how fake it all is. It's fake. Unbelievable.
With that, so that people can get really scared and turn to their government for help, and then present a solution. Pay more tax. If we all pay more tax, all of the above can be warded off. We, the government, will keep you safe. Just give us your money, comply, and all will be well. Next, climate change. Remember what they said back in the 1970s?
Yeah.
10 years from now, there will be an ice age.
Liars. Ramp up fear.
Remember what they said 10 years later? 10 years from now, acid rain will destroy all crops.
Control, and it's been very effective. People still
Remember
believe.
what they said 10 years later? 10 years from now, the ozone layer will be gone. Remember what they said 10 years later? 10 years from now, the ice caps will be gone, melted. What happened to the ice age? Those were the experts talking.
Right.
Remember Al Gore and his inconvenient truth? Alerting the public to an increasing planetary emergency due to global warming back in 2006, plus a sequel in 2017? Well, guess what? None of his terrifying predictions came true. He did win a shared Nobel Prize, though. God knows
So
why.
dumb.
The ice caps are still there. We didn't get submerged in a modern-day deluge. Even the dikes in the Netherlands, a country partly below sea level, still hold. And we're all okay.
Such a joke. You know what, in fact, brings full picture to the actual truth behind climate change? Because there is a truth behind climate change. The climate changes all the freaking time throughout human history. Duh. Didn't you know that? But it's not the climate change that this cabal is speaking of, ramping up fear and preying upon. You know, it's unbelievable. If you just simply looked into the record of the solar cycle. Wow, yeah, our sun has a very steady ramping up heating and cooling, like where it ramps up at solar flares, and then it's all recorded. So we can even, based on that, make more accurate predictions as to what's going to take place here. And it perfectly aligns. That's the climate change we're experiencing. You're to tell me anything we're to do on this planet is gonna impact what the impact that the sun is having on our planet? What a hoax. Carbon's the issue. So CO2, oh my gosh. We're actually nearing a lull of CO2, which we need to bump up for plant life and food, all life. It's scarily low. And you ask any of these individuals that, oh, it's your freaking diesel truck. It's like, could you tell me how much of the atmosphere actually, like CO2 accounts for our atmosphere? They can't answer. 0.4%. It might be 0.04. Once again, I got to verify. I need to remember these things. But either way, we'll give them benefit of doubt. 0.4. The human impact on that percent is like 0.03% of the 0.4%. It is so minuscule. It's insanity. Insanity. And even within that, they're not addressing the biggest carbon issues. They're addressing the more tyrannical ones that can have more impact and control over us. It's just, it truly is insanity. Yeah, come on. Oh, let's not be deceived anymore, folks.
Then there was John Kerry. He is now US Special Presidential Envoy for Climate and speaker at the World Economic Forum, G7 and G20 meetings, where he shares his heartfelt, humble thoughts and emotions about saving the planet.
We, a select group of human beings, are able to sit in a room and come together and actually talk about saving the planet. I mean, it's so almost extraterrestrial to think about. Really, that's where we are.
Oh my God. It's almost extraterrestrial to be talking about saving the planet? Seriously? Well, maybe you shouldn't talk so much about saving the planet. Maybe you should actually do something. I mean, the man is loaded with millions of dollars. Do you know why he and his WEF buddies are still talking about saving the planet instead of acting accordingly? Because fear is needed to bring about extreme reforms that in normal times people will never agree to. Remember?
This is an opportunity to also do good reforms that in normal times people will never agree to.
That's what this is all about. That's why they keep coming up with new so-called catastrophic threats. Those extreme reforms were already introduced during the COVID pandemic. Rules of compliance, decimating our humanity. Total lockdowns of entire communities and countries, destroying trade, killing off small and medium-sized companies, thus creating shortage and poverty. Extreme surveillance measures, annihilating our privacy. And the gathering of biometric data. A very dangerous reform, as we have shown in our previous episode.
Right.
COVID-19 was an excellent fear inducer. It was implemented to test our ability and willingness to comply.
Golly.
We are now moving to the next level. The cyber attack they keep going on about has been rehearsed 3 times. Cyber Polygon. Just like the COVID pandemic was rehearsed in advance as well.
Right.
More excellent fear inducers? A new world war against Russia due to the situation in the Ukraine. There was even talk about a possible nuclear war.
What are they doing?
Excellent choice to scare the living daylight out of people. And of course, the bestseller, climate change and global warming. If people stop being afraid, the Cabal will lose power overnight, you see.
Right.
That's why climate change has been turned into a major threat. A trump card to push the Great Reset down our throats. Are we climate change deniers? Of course not. Climate change in and of itself is a natural phenomenon. It has existed since time immemorial, ever since the Earth was formed about 4.5 billion years ago. That's why there were ice ages, for instance. Global warming, global cooling. They came and they went. When the ice started melting some 13,000 years ago, were our ancestors to blame? Was it their carbon footprint that caused temperatures to rise?
Nope.
Of course not.
$350 is dangerous. Wow. Are you aware that since mammals have walked the planet, the average has been over 1,000 parts per million?
Yeah, but we weren't walking the planet. We weren't walking the planet.
It's
At no point during the past 800,000 years has atmospheric CO2 been as high as it is today.
The reason you chose 800,000 years ago is because for 200 million years before that, it was greater than it is today.
Right.
Yeah, but there weren't human beings. I mean, there was a different world, folks. We didn't
That
have
doesn't
7
even make
billion
sense.
people.
So how did it get to 2,000 parts per million if we humans weren't here?
Because there were all kinds of geologic events happening on Earth which spewed
Did
up.
geology stop when we got on the planet?
Boom. Oh my gosh. Someone just snip that clip. Oh my gosh, maybe I will. Snip just that clip for all them that are drinking up that Kool-Aid of that cult. I mean, how is it not? It's not truth. And gosh, we are so malleable. That's how the truth does set us free, in acknowledging these tactics. Let's actually see to it the fall of the Cabal takes place so we don't have to continually defend ourselves on all these levels and protect ourselves. And you know what? Let's do an experiment real quick. If everyone could just take a second that's live here now and click the like button, the thumbs up button in this episode. Why do I say that? Yes, sure. It could help the views because, I mean, just think about it. Someone's scrolling and they considered watching this video, but they see one with 100 likes and we only got 3. What are they going to click on? The 100 likes. That's just how it works. So yeah, sure, it will help us. But I'm more so curious because if this doesn't evoke a single like, just taking the time to do this experiment live, then it literally leads me down a path of questioning the impact I'm actually having. Spending insane amount of hours doing this, and that there just may be a more effective way of having results and impact in this world than what I'm doing. And that's what I want. I want to see results. I want to have a positive impact. So clearly, if people can't do that, you see where I'm going. Like, then the shares, that's even an additional step than just clicking a like as you're here. Or reaching out to state officials. Or if we even spoon-fed anything else to our betterment, it just kind of becomes humbling, and I want to face the reality of the impact we're having. And I don't know if that's going to lead. We'll just keep it at that, and we'll see where it leads. And I just want to come to terms with the reality of the situation, whether we could switch gears, change things up, be more impactful, have more results, or if there's a whole other path entirely. It's something I'm taking up between me and God, and I look forward to whatever he lays before me. And I'd be happy to switch gears. If that's the case, I would happily continue this fight in what I'm doing if that's the case. His will over mine.
Climate change will always be a part of planet Earth, with or without people. And global warming? For those are two different things, even though they are presented as one. Global warming comes and goes, like we said. Global warming, global cooling. They come in waves. It's normal. So when people ask you about global warming, there's only one valid answer. When? Which wave of global warming are you talking about? The one in the Roman period, when it was actually warmer than today? Oh, the current one. There is no current one. Ever heard of the Little Ice Age? Do you know what happens to temperatures when an ice age ends?
The solar cycles match this perfectly, just saying.
Go up. It's normal. Now, if you want evidence that there is no current man-made global warming, do your own research.
Yes.
Read NASA reports and weather station reports. Read the climate papers of NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, the American National Weather Service. Read those of the Met Office, the Meteorological Office, the UK's National Weather Service. Read the following scientific papers, written by people from NASA and various universities. Evidence for large decadal variability in the tropical mean radiative energy budget. Evidence for strengthening of the tropical general circulation in the 1990s. We read them after hearing Dr. Kerry Mullis talk about them in a TED Talk. That's right, Dr. Mullis from our COVID episodes, the inventor of the PCR test, who died 4 months before all COVID hell broke loose.
The conclusion in both of these papers is that our theories about global warming are completely wrong. If you measure the temperature of the atmosphere, it isn't going up. It's not going up at all. We've been doing it very carefully now for 20 years from satellites, and it isn't going up. The place didn't get warmer, so the theory's kaput. But these papers should have been called The End to the Global Warming Fiasco.
Listen to real scientists, the ones who refuse to be in on it for the money, the ones who risk their careers by speaking up and telling us the truth about this huge lie.
Climate has always been changing, but this has nothing to do with man.
A minute, you say this isn't caused by man. How come they're reporting this heat wave is recognised as the worst in 1,000 years of recorded history in Russia?
Oh my gosh.
Man has got something to do with this, hasn't he?
No, nothing to do with it. The only connection is man is here at the same time as the sun and the moon are doing things.
Dr. Corbin refers to the fact that the climate is a very complex system with a lot of elements that influence the outcome. Solar activity, the phases of the moon, the Earth's tilt, its elliptical orbit around the sun, ocean circulations, changes in salinity, cloud amount, and much more.
These things are dictated by solar activity in the moon. They're nothing to do with mankind, and those who say that are just trying to make money out of it.
Well, how come then so many climate change scientists disagree with you and they get so much support?
How come you are challenging versus absorbing someone that more so lived out their lives to understand this thing when you're just a reporter and you haven't, you're just running on talking points. You drank the Kool-Aid, my man. Humble yourself. And then seek what he has to say, stack it up to what you've been told, and more than likely it's going to open your eyes and you're going to realize, wow, I've just been a puppet. I've been fulfilling evil's bidding in this very seat, in this position. What a doofus. We all have been doofuses to an extent. We need a great humbling is what we need. Gosh, dang.
Well,
what they say.
They're on a gravy train, for heaven's sake, they mate.
They're on a gravy train.
The government puts out about $2.5 billion directly for climate research every year. It only gives that money to scientists who will produce scientific results that support the global warming hypothesis of the Democrat Party. So they don't have any choice. If you're going to get the money, you got to support their position.
Ooh.
Therefore, 97% of the scientific reports published support global warming.
Wow.
Why? Because those are the ones the government pays for, and that's where the money is.
Wow.
It's real simple, but that doesn't mean it's right. That doesn't make it true. If you
Right.
get down to the hard, cold facts, there's no question about it. There is no significant man-made global warming now.
Wow.
There hasn't been any in the past, and there's no reason to expect any in the future.
Powerful.
One of my missions is to turn on its head the idea that carbon dioxide is a pollutant and somehow dangerous, when in fact it is the most important nutrient for all life on Earth, and without it this would be a dead planet. Scientific method has not been applied in such a way as to prove that carbon dioxide is causing the Earth to warm. If we had definitive proof that CO2 was causing serious problems, don't you think they would write that down on a piece of paper somewhere so people could read it? They don't have definitive proof, period.
Earlier this year, Dr. John Clauser was asked to talk to young science students in South Korea on how to become a really good scientist. He used his talk to share his opinion about climate change and about the climate gurus of the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change.
Your work should be based on careful observations of nature. You must try hard and recognize what I will call an elephant in the room, hiding in plain sight. I found an elephant in the room regarding climate change. I believe that climate change is not a crisis.
Boom.
The current world is literally awash, saturated with pseudoscience, with bad science, with scientific misinformation and disinformation for opportunistic purposes. Because, in my opinion, the IPCC is one of the worst sources of dangerous misinformation. I can confidently say there is no real climate crisis and that climate change does not cause extreme weather events. Thank you.
When John Kerry presented his so-called evidence that the Earth's temperatures and the CO2 levels in the atmosphere showed identical graphs, he was lying through his teeth.
When there is more carbon dioxide, the temperature gets warmer.
What he didn't tell you is that temperatures rise and fall first. CO2 levels follow. The climate crisis bashers want you to believe it's the other way around. That CO2 levels go up first, and that temperatures go up immediately as a result. You don't believe us? Then listen to real experts, like for instance Professor Ian Clark, geologist and Arctic paleoclimatologist.
Here we're looking at the ice core record from Vostok, and in the red we see temperature going up from early time to later time at a very key interval when we came out of a glaciation. And we see the temperature going up, and then we see the CO2 coming up. CO2 lags behind that increase. It's got an 800-year lag, so temperature is leading CO2 by 800 years.
Boom.
Several other ice
Bombshell.
surveys show the exact same findings. Why didn't Kerry point that out? Why does the IPCC not talk about this? It kind of changes the narrative, don't you think?
Yep.
The amount of CO2 produced by humans is only a fraction of that produced by nature.
Yep.
Take volcanoes. They produce more carbon dioxide than all the cars, factories, planes, etc. put together. Animals, bacteria, and dying vegetation release many hundreds of gigatons of CO2 each year. But the biggest producer of CO2 by far are the oceans. Meet Carl Wunsch, Professor of Oceanography at MIT, Harvard University, University of London, Senior Visiting Fellow in Mathematics and Physics, University of Cambridge, author of 4 major textbooks on oceanography.
The ocean is the major reservoir into which carbon dioxide goes when it comes out of the atmosphere, or from which it is re-emitted to the atmosphere. If you heat the surface of the ocean, it tends to emit carbon dioxide. And similarly, if you cool the ocean surface, the ocean can dissolve more carbon dioxide.
The warmer the oceans, the more CO2 they release. The cooler the oceans, the more CO2 they absorb. So, back to the time lag of 800 years between changes in temperature and changes in CO2 levels. Where does that time lag come from? Oceans are massive. They are so massive it literally takes hundreds of years for them to warm up or cool down.
If somebody says, oh, I'm seeing changes in the North Atlantic, this must mean that the climate system is changing. It may only mean that something happened in a remote part of the ocean decades or hundreds of years ago, whose effects are now beginning to show up in the North Atlantic.
In the past 120 years, temperatures have risen just over half a degree Celsius. But most of their rise occurred before 1940. Since that time, the temperature has fallen for 4 decades and risen for 3 decades.
I freaking love this. I love all the data. Nerd out with it. Own it. Are you kidding me? Now, it's bigger than this narrative. This is just another angle of exposing the cabal. And more importantly than winning this narrative and winning everyone over to this narrative is to acknowledge their agendas. And it's everything tyranny. It's everything tyrannical. It's everything evil and taking away our free agency that God has gifted us. That our forefathers in this country have gifted us with the Constitution, a Bill of Rights. And we allowed that to get trampled on time and time again. And to this day, we're allowing, free speech. Holy smokes. In this country, how are we accepting? Because with that, these agendas continue. Why is evil targeting and controlling information to the extent it has? It's been their shield. I can't put enough emphasis on this. You either see it or you don't. And when you see it, you if in fact you value freedom, you see how with the continuum of this, you're not free. Unless this gets properly addressed and snuffed entirely out. And you can see how so many aren't free. So, is freedom worth fighting for? Is it worth dying for? Hell yeah. Let's go.
Looking at Earth's long climate history, there is no evidence whatsoever that carbon dioxide has ever determined global temperatures. Not ever. Period. By the way, here are some important numbers we think you should know. 0.04% of our atmosphere consists of CO2.
It's 0.04. 0.04. I gave him the benefit of the doubt earlier. Unbelievable.
95.7% of that amount is produced by nature.
95.
4.3% is produced by man. In other words, 0.0017% of our atmosphere is CO2.
It's a little different from the scientists I heard. Maybe I put the zero in the wrong place here versus here. But yeah, the scientist I was listening to says 0.3%. Not even this much, but even looking at that, it is very minuscule.
Produced by man. So, what about the differences between the scientific facts and the IPCC's predictions? Let's hear what Professor Clark said at a congressional hearing.
How do they model the greenhouse to achieve these temperatures? Well, CO2 is a very minor constituent of the atmosphere. The strongest, by far, is water vapor. And so water vapor is used in these models to drive climate warming. The model is based on a little bit of CO2 warming, which would be insignificant, is amplified by water vapor, a 2 to 4 time water vapor feedback. And this feedback effect has never been documented, it's never been seen in the geological record, and so it remains an hypothesis.
Now that's a very polite way to say they are spicing up the statistics, because the real data would never show a climate crisis. The problem with these mathematical models is they show you exactly what you put into them. They make it extremely easy to manipulate the outcome and change the narrative.
Right.
Bearing in mind that the models were set up to serve politics, not science, they predict extreme heat, droughts, food shortages, starvation, natural disasters, and so on and so forth. They now even show preposterous headlines that the planet has entered an era of boiling. This is insane, as none of the scientific data even remotely points in that direction. And they can yell and scream for all we care about this July being the hottest month on record, but there's no evidence of that either. Now we understand.
Knowing the COVID crimes, right? Could it now be possible, due to this movement, not just taking away our freedoms and regulating us and like emissions, just all this stuff, money going out the window towards this freaking cabal, but they're now able, without pushback from we the people, could it possibly be, under the guise of fighting climate change, global warming, we're gonna combat the sun's rays and cool the planet with the sprays. They know it's not an issue. It's under the guise. This is where the cabal, it's evil, it's satanic. And so we don't get pushback. They are poisoning our skies. It's having an impact on our pH soil, on our food production, on all biological life, plant, animal, your life, our loved ones. Aluminum, barium, graphene oxide. They found bacteria. They found the spiral key. They found 40 different batches in these chemtrails. And man, stop lying to yourself. By their definition of a contrail, water vapor and ice crystallization, you can see the ones that dissipate behind the jet and don't get any longer than whatever it is you're watching. It continually follows the jet. That, by their definition, is a contrail. But the ones that span the whole dang sky, and they've been really good at creating to dissipate and blanket the whole sky, that is a chemtrail. 100%. Don't lie to yourself. There's a distinction between the two. So the question becomes, what, in fact, are they spraying? You look into that, look at Frankenskies. It's another form as to what Yuval Harari was speaking about on control. And it's diminishing our health, which is putting us in a place of more so dependency on all their solutions and systems. And also, I mean, they literally talked about technology, okay? And when it's just proven, these metals and nanoparticles react to the frequencies. It's easy to connect the dots. It takes no rocket scientist. And then you come to the conclusion, wow, 5G has nothing to do with their cellular connectivity, that it is more so a surveillance tool and a direct energy weapon. Well, it's only effective enough if we get their shots, if we breathe this poison, because the higher concentrate, you can see it. The scientific evidence from real doctors in science, like you can see the reaction of these metals and these particles to the frequencies. You get enough of that within your body, we can only fathom as to the impact it's going to have. The trillions of dollars they made during the pandemic, scamdemic, you don't think for a second they're like researching more effective batches? Maybe that's now the leg of warfare, that they're like, it doesn't even matter politically what happens anymore. We continue this plan. It's X amount of time, and they are fully hacked. I don't understand how we don't drop everything we're engaged in as men in this country and combat this warfare and demand, state by state, country by country, this stops now. Bring the evidence that supports any argument about what Janet just laid out regarding the hoax of climate change. You can't. You can't prove. So use your gut instinct. Hopefully this triggers enough alarm. Like, once again, let's stop the projection that we love our family members, we're willing to die for our kids. If you're going to allow strangers to continually poison your kids as we speak, don't you have a role to play there to protect your children? Reach out to those state officials now. I'll even say it. I mean, because we're kind of at a precipice. We're at a moment, a very pivotal moment. If you're too cowardly to start reaching out, well, then put me in. I will fight for your kids. Financially support what we're doing here, or blast it to the moon to give us the momentum where we can do calls to action that will lead to real solutions. I know that's going to hit wrong, but I got to go put my foot in my mouth occasionally. Cutesy time's over. It's time to face reality, accept what's taking place so we can effectively combat it. We would be insane not to. And we've been fulfilling that insanity for far too long.
People make mistakes, but these are not mistakes. These are deliberate lies.
Before it is too late, within the 10 years that we have left to us.
The world is going to end in 12 years.
9 years.
There will be no future underwater.
The science is clear.
In the 10 years that we have left to us.
I can't imagine there will be a human on the planet in 10 years.
We are in the beginning of a mass extinction.
God. They're using mathematical models to predict horror scenarios, just like they did with COVID-19.
Right.
Remember Neil Ferguson and his 2.2 million people will die in the US alone? didn't happen. Apart from those murdered with a little help from midazolam and remdesivir.
Right.
The climate models, too, are fraudulent, just like these COVID models. Designed that way by fraudulent people and paid for by fraudulent people and subsequently deployed by fraudulent people. The so-called hockey stick effect was created deliberately that way by flattening the curves before the Industrial Revolution, making it seem like a nice and steady line, after which they put totally exaggerated predictions into their models that subsequently sped out this insane graph. We wonder, Mr. Man, what happened to the Little Ice Age? And where did you leave the medieval warming period?
Right. Oh my gosh. Look at the difference. Come on. Come on now. Wow.
And how come IPCC, One World Government Panel on Climate Fraud, how come you want us to freak out over a predicted hotspot of greenhouse warming when the real temperature readings by radiosonde do not show a hotspot? How come they show cooling? Remember those 2 papers we showed you 12 minutes ago? Well, that was just the beginning. Over the past months, we've read just about every scientific paper on climate change written in the past 2 decades, including the ones that are not talked about on TV, that are peer-reviewed and meet the strict requirements of science.
Right.
What they conclude all boils down to the following. There is no climate crisis. Temperatures have been climbing since the Little Ice Age. Temperatures rise much slower than predicted by the IPCC. CO2 has never determined global temperatures.
Boom.
Not ever in the history of our planet.
Ever.
CO2 is not a forging agent, it follows temperatures. Warming is caused by nature and by anthropogenic factors, not by man. There is a direct... I
guarantee, I can't even segment this out and get it on TikTok or even YouTube. So the lies are building more so momentum. Well, not with kind of the shift of attention from traditional media, formerly mainstream media, because what's more mainstream now are independent sources, are free speech platforms, which are fantastic to see. Like Dan Bongino alone blows out CNN views daily on his independent podcast. Fan-freaking-tastic. We just need more individuals at the top that aren't afraid to actually call out the cabal, because he's wrapped up in a lot of the bread and circus of it all. And yeah, it could be important, maybe through political, if we start getting UNMUZZLED in that realm and holding them accountable to addressing the bigger warfare and the bigger threats. Sure, it could be utilized as a tool. But personally, I feel the only way to combat the real infrastructure is through unity of we the people at a larger number than we currently have, or more engagement from the people in the know. We aren't there yet, and the proof is with the COVID shot still being available. The proof is with the sky still being sprayed. The proof is with the fluoride still being put into your water and unacceptable parts per million levels across the board. The EPA, even corrupt EPA, has standards that in Arizona we far exceed in those parts per million, deeming our water not even humane to drink. But we're drinking it. Unbelievable. That's unacceptable. Also, the momentum they're building and more centralization of our food, more poisoning, more GMOs, more vaccinations to our food and animals. China's buying up more farmland. Gates is buying up more farmland. It's being centralized for a reason. It's another way of biological warfare, because you manipulate what we put into our bodies. Once again, you can see the impacts. It's so clear. It's crazy. It's like we're being led to the slaughter. We just don't even freaking care. A few people have gotten out of line. They've addressed that. Some people are slowing the line. It's just, what are we doing? Why are we lying to ourselves? Why are we not protecting our loved ones and securing our future, or doing what we can minimally on behalf of our God, and not allowing this evil cabal to deceive us and so many as to the real truths. It's crazy. I mean, I get it. My heart goes out to individuals, because why did it take freaking 40 years really to really open eyes and get over myself? Challenge everything. Actually develop, let's say, the virtue of humility. The virtue of being excited when someone brings to your attention, wow, you got something wrong. I don't care what scenario. How is it to your benefit to deny the truth and continue the belief in something wrong? Unfortunately, it's rampant. And what feeds that? Evil. Pride, ego, and evil.
Direct link between warming and solar activity. Therefore, it's about time that CO2 levels and temperatures are decoupled. The amount of CO2 produced by humans is only a fraction of that produced by nature. CO2 is not a pollutant. It is plant food. It is of the utmost importance for life on Earth.
Yes.
More CO2 means a greener planet and increased yields of crops.
Proven.
Bringing down CO2 levels will have damaging effects for all life on Earth. More CO2 has not increased natural disasters. As a matter of fact, there's ample evidence that many forest fires were caused by man, not nature.
Wow.
Crooked politicians using crooked models to blame everything on global warming and climate change.
Golly, Janet, you do
and by
such
the way,
a good job.
cold weather kills more people than warm weather. Thousands of scientists from around the world are now stepping forward and speaking up about this huge political fraud, this scam called the climate crisis.
But have you heard that? Have you heard from those thousands? Probably not. Maybe a few of them, but the thousands? I haven't even heard of the thousands. From all the thousands. Why is that? Well, the control over information yet. Still.
They have formed coalitions trying to reach as many people as possible, trying to prevent yet another useless and devastating global lockdown.
Guys, I don't want to be too repetitive, but this genuinely is her last episode to the sequel. Please, I'm pleading with you to do your utmost to get it out to as many people as you can. It would only lead to blessing. I mean, sure, some individuals will bite back, but if we could shift the paradigm, if in the time we got left, it would be great blessing.
Clintel is one of them, the Global Climate Intelligence Group. Clintel has released a World Climate Declaration signed by 1,500 scientists and professionals. The title of this declaration speaks for itself. There is no climate emergency. A global network of over 1,500 scientists and professionals has prepared this urgent message. Climate science should be less political, while climate policy should be more scientific. Scientists should openly address uncertainties and exaggerations in their predictions of global warming, while politicians should dispassionately count the real costs as well as the imagined benefits of their policy measures. 1,500 scientists and professionals who know what they're talking about and who refuse to be bribed or bullied into silence. Let's leave it to Dan Peña to say it as it is. In 2009, Mr. Peña and his wife were in a research facility in Antarctica. The scientists gave presentations about climate change. They had drilled thousands of ice cores, by which they can tell you the temperatures at any given time, and had brought about a dozen to this presentation.
So they're going through the second or third core, and they said 275,000 years ago, this was the temperature, blah, 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 blah. And then 55,000 years ago, the world was 2 degrees warmer Celsius than it is today. And I said, well, you mean the whole world? He says, yes. And the poles are only benchmarks. And he said, it's all cyclical.
Mr. Peña then points out something interesting.
The best scenario vis-a-vis global warming is about 10 feet raising water. If the water on the planet is going to rise up 10 feet, that means the southern part of the United States is gone. England is gone. Most of Europe is gone. Most of Central America is gone. If it were really true, the banks wouldn't invest. The banks wouldn't finance. Not one motherfucking condominium. The financial institutions, the banks of this world know it's not going to happen. Otherwise, you couldn't get a goddamn loan in London. You know those 30, 40-year mortgages?
Wow, he's charged up.
It's the greatest fraud that's been perpetrated on mankind this century.
The man has a point. If the
That must have been pre-pandemic. It is perpetually a great fraud, but the pandemic led to their solution that clearly has led to their agenda on murdering us. Yeah. I would repeat that. We have the evidence. We have the proof. It's undeniable. And it's genocidal agenda. So what's worse? I mean, this could end up worse if they became effective and then monitored carbon footprint and then limited. I mean, they could literally starve us out. So many things. So many things. We got to stop the shenanigans. Are you kidding me? What else were we put in? This is existence, none other than to like push back against this evil. And if we could get it to a place where these threats aren't so great, then yeah, we could get some enjoyment while we're here. But we could allow that life purpose, that mission, be the enjoyment.
climate emergency were true, would the Cabal buy mansions by the sea?
Yeah, come on. Al Gore, look at these individuals. Obama. Gosh, what a traitor.
You were lied to all along.
Yep.
And the mainstream media was, as always, in on it.
They've already announced in our office that once the public will be open to it, we're going to start focusing mainly on climate, like global warming, and like that's going to be our next focus. Like our focus was to get Trump out of office, right? So our next thing is going to be for climate change awareness.
What does that look like?
I have a feeling it's just going to be like constantly showing videos of like decline in ice and
manipulating,
weather warming up, and like the effects it's having on the economy, and really talking about head of the network, Zucker, yeah.
So that's like the next
pandemic like story, like that we'll beat to death.
So
we'll beat to
climate
death.
Change overload.
Be prepared, it's coming.
Wow.
They lied about temperatures in general. They manipulated people by using new colors, red and orange.
Look at the numbers, they're like the same. Wow. Look at this. Unbelievable.
They lied about the skyline effect, adding warm buildings at night into the equation, making it look warmer.
Oh my gosh.
They lied by using feels-like temperatures instead of real ones. They lied by making you believe humans are much more to blame for CO2 than volcanoes and oceans and even decomposing leaves in autumn. They lied by telling you rising CO2 levels cause temperatures to rise, when in reality it's the other way round. They lied by claiming climate change causes health problems.
Wow. Wow.
They lied using fraudulent climate models. They lied about there being a scientific consensus when there is none. And they deliberately silenced thousands of scientists who are trying to shout off the rooftops that there is no climate emergency.
Right there. Isn't that enough for us to actually see to it? The whole World Economic Forum, the UN, all these individuals like are locked up. You're not to manipulate and control and lead. They have had such a vast impact. What do we... Help us have a bigger impact here. I do question whether I myself, looking at how well Janet formulated this information and laid it before us, like that, I just don't have. I mean, I could try to hone in the skill. I mean, I can kind of have a conversation with someone, even with the neurological defects of a bioweapon called Lyme disease, old school biowarfare, but to go into this depth, bring all the receipts, this in and of itself is like, we could just put this video, slap it on in front of a judge, and we should be able to have freaking tribunals see to it the fall of this cabal.
And see. Other scientists are, to use Piers Corbyn's words, on the gravy train. Or to use this lady's words, many scientists are in the UN's pocket.
You know, we own the science, and we think that the world, should know it.
Glad to hear some cabal puppets are honest people.
Wow.
She adds that the UN also controls social media, and that they're doing their utmost best to remove disinformation about the climate at all times.
There you go.
We partnered with Google, for example. If you Google climate change, you will, at the top of your search, you will get all kinds of UN resources.
Absorb that. So Google is ran by the same ones. The influence they had on the safe and effective narrative too is people tried researching and finding the truth. How many people resort to Google to this day? I'm kind of tired is beating this ad nauseum and not seeing the proper growth. People actually acknowledging these war tactics and how damning they are, as though people are going unscathed. It's like you look around, yeah, we have built out a society that is clearly giving us a false sense of security. And we're not properly acknowledging these war tactics. Why are we so stuck on it's got to be bullets or bombs before anyone actually reacts appropriately to save their own skin? Literally, our loved ones are dying due to the scamdemic. They're dying due to the poisoning of all these things, the food even. Golly. Life expectancy is plummeting. Chronic illness is a true epidemic. You don't have your health. It's like, good freaking luck. Been there. It sucks. We're going to dive into Vaxxed 1, Vaxxed 2, Vaxxed 3, and it dives into the childhood vaccine schedule. It's undeniable that every single shot that has been created causes more harm than it in fact does good. We'll bring that evidence. Every single one of them. Yes, even the flu shot. Yet, their manipulation, their propaganda, their programming has been so effective, people still are getting in line for them all. It's heartbreaking.
We started this partnership when we were shocked to see that when we Googled climate change, we were getting incredibly distorted information right at the top.
Controlling all the information. Wow.
The mainstream media does the rest by spreading lie after lie after lie, until everybody is too brainwashed to have a different opinion. But like we said, when you simply do your own research, it's not that hard to see through their bullshit. When you see this,
tell them.
Ask yourself the question, what study? What scientists? Find names and follow the money. On whose payroll are they? So whom do they represent?
Wow. Thank you for laying it out. even teaching us how to properly research. Wow.
Ask yourself, why is it not allowed to have a different opinion? One that can actually be defended with scientific facts instead of vague claims. Why are those who state there's no climate emergency called climate change deniers? Why should they be ignored? Why are they ridiculed, ousted by their peers?
They put so much money, time, effort, energy into these things to our detriment. And yeah, it's been weaponized against truth speakers. 100%. Time to rip the lid off of things. And I can't compete with how well Janet has done here. Forget Unmuzzled Chat. Just share the links below. Dang it. We care about the outcomes. We need to protect people with the truth. It's the only way. Otherwise, come on. Oh, God. Wow. Jailed. College professor says climate change denier should be jailed for criminal negligence. My gosh, I could say the word normally, but I guess the reading part of it, I'm having a day. Okay, we ebb and flow. And the most painful part about this very episode is I genuinely don't feel I'm doing Janet justice, especially being her last sequel episode. Wow.
Why is fear being normalized? Why are we supposed to listen to a child instead of climatologists with amazing credentials?
Since the climate crisis doesn't exist, how can we expect people to want climate action?
Once you see through the bullshit, it almost becomes entertaining.
Right.
Europe is the fastest warming continent in the world. No, it's not Europe. It's the Arctic. No, it's Africa. Of course it's Africa. Oh, hang on. It's the Middle East. It's always hot in the Middle East. Or was that Africa? Aha! It turns out to be the US. Well, at least part of the US.
What a joke.
It's New England. No! It's Russia! It is always Russia.
Right. Oh my gosh.
The entire climate hysteria is a fraud. Just like the COVID fraud, the Russian collusion fraud, and all the other frauds. They are there for only one reason: to keep you scared and thus oppressed. Why? So they can push their Agenda 2030 down our throats, including land and home expropriations, the destruction of our food sector, and the implementation of tri-state and 15-minute cities. The climate emergency was fabricated to turn us into prisoners in a totalitarian one-world regime. What they didn't count on, though, were the critical thinkers. Those who did their own research and who refused to be silenced against all odds.
Love it.
Do you want to see where all of this will lead us? Then follow me to part 29.
29. The episode that never got completed, finished. Here it is right here, 28. Goes on to her passing. I'm going to take some time. I'm going to do some deep dives. I'm going to see what I could come up with. We might, in fact, go into this. The fall of the Cabal for children. Probably do a little preliminary, dive into it. Before bringing it before you guys. feel free. We need to blast this webpage out there. It's incredible what she's assembled right here. I'm so grateful for all her hard work. I just hope that wherever God leads me, I can become more effective than I have been here in this last year. It's been over a year on this cast adventure, and that's been the most challenging part of this, honestly, has been the lack of response, has been the lack of growth. There'd be a totally different feeling with more momentum. I mean, with more views. You could just see if we were in the tens of thousands or millions of views, we could have more positive impact, more positive results, ending chemtrails, ending the fluoride, getting healthier food. I'm going to have to take some time, I feel. We all should sit in silence, seek God's will. Maybe I've imposed my own will and I've lost what He meant for me to do with this cast. It'd be great to come to any realization that would lead me more purely to His will over mine. Janet, thank you. We appreciate you. Love you, hon. Clearly had such a gift. Her voice, her accent, her positivity, her ability to walk through very tough narratives, dark narratives, with more so an uplifting spirit, energy. Great gift to us all. I pray that you guys share that with everyone you know. Jesus is calling. Let's end with this. It is November 20th. And it reads, I am pleased with you, my child. Allow yourself to become fully aware of my pleasure shining upon you. You don't have to perform well. You don't have to perform well in order to receive my love. In fact, a performance focus will pull you away from me toward some sort of Phariseeism. Is that right? This can be a subtle form of idolatry, worship, your own good works. It can also be a source of deep discouragement when your works don't measure up to your expectations. Wow, you can't make this stuff up. This is hitting deeply. Yes, I'm going to scribble in my book. So I reference this and I take it to him in privacy. I'll repeat, it can also be a source of deep discouragement when your works don't measure up to your expectations. Shift your focus from your performance to my radiant presence. The light of my love shines on you continually, regardless of your feelings or behavior. Gosh, he loves us. Your responsibility is to be receptive to this unconditional love. Thankfulness and trust are your primary receptors. Thankfulness is Huge. Gratitude is huge. Thank me for everything. Trust in me at all times. These simple disciplines will keep you open to my loving presence. I needed that. I hope you needed that. We're not to be discouraged. We're not to be walking in fear due to the synagogue of Satan and everything that's happening. Let's more so face the reality, face the truths, and through our loving Creator, we will be directed on a path. But how are we going to fully fall into His will if we're going to freaking allow pride and ego and ignorance to rule the day? We'll only be able to access a percentage of that path. There's a few biblical references. I look forward to diving into them. I'm sure it's just going to shine the light more on this. I cannot wait. But I challenge you to check them out for yourself. We have Ephesians 2, 8 through 9, Ephesians 3, 16 through 19, and Psalm 62, 8. I am grateful for this opportunity today. Is all my character defects are shining through loud and bright. That's fine. We're all imperfect. But the more we can gain that trust, that gratitude in our loving Creator, like, man, all is well. All is well. I love you all. Thank you so much for all you have done, all you do. No doubt I'll be back. Take a little time, maybe a day or two, few, we'll see. But I'll be back. Hopefully, more so on the right stinking path. What a freaking challenge. If you want to bless this platform and light more spark and fire under my butt, consider donating. We got a Venmo, Cash App, GoFundMe, even the Buy Me a Coffee link. I'll be honest, we've had one person throw some funds in that. A year later, one person. Like, that's just where we're at. Listen, should I be fully transparent? I am over $8,000 in debt due to this adventure. That's where I'm at. Just being honest. Does that ramp up some pressures? Yeah, it does. And it makes me question how delusional am I continuing this pursuit to the extent I have been. Is it time to get selfish? Go start swinging a hammer? Luckily, I'm an Ami. I could do it left-handed. I don't need my right. It more so was my strength arm, but now it's disappearing. But it's painful. I genuinely would feel as though there would be blood on my hands with the warfare that is going on and what I'm seeing and how it's continuing. And so many have been deceived. I couldn't imagine. But maybe there's another adventure out there somewhere that a group I could get engaged in that might bring a little more steady financial that I don't need much. I'm considering selling the home I can't even afford to live in to continue this adventure. It means that much. Is even though I know, like, my intelligence stack up to, we shouldn't even be doing comparisons. I just know there's other individuals that have been more so gifted, that gift of gab and connecting dots more eloquently. But the fact of the matter is, not enough are waking up. So more of us need to show up to some capacity or another. So we'll see. But if it isn't through donations, check out our affiliations. Try to align ourselves with companies that are furthering the fight against evil. And align ourselves with companies that will help your health. And align ourselves with companies and individuals that will improve your health and prepare yourself for a day of struggle, whether it be your EMP and power outage, right? That type of warfare, or preparations like American Reserves, and all of that affiliation was to help everyone, help the cast, help you buy discount, and help these companies, because they're all doing amazing things. In fact, if they aren't and they ended up corrupted or bought out by BlackRock, I would want nothing to do with them. I don't care how much. Walmart could offer me millions of dollars to fund everything we're doing here. Not interested. Sorry, keep your money. Keep your blood money. Not interested. It's where we're at. This has been fun, though. I don't mean to be all negative or disheartened. It's just the pain in my heart truly lies with how effective evil has been, ramping up the suffering of all my dear brothers and sisters, especially our women and children. I pray I gain more insight in a light or a path where I can be more helpful in easing that suffering. I don't care where it is. I don't care if it's here. I want to help you all. It's the truth. God bless you. Till next time, take care.